I meant what I said. Once I beat Spence, if Charlo don't move up, I'm coming for him.
Ooh.
You didn't see the fight last night?
No, I didn't see the fight.
Hey,
I was here, but I heard he won.
He did his thing.
10 round knockout.
Yeah.
You know, congratulations to Charlo.
You want the whole camp?
You know, he on my hit list.
Hey.
Dude got 2 people on my hit list, and that's, you know, Jermell and Spence. Well, Spence first and then Jermell.
Well, to be undisputed and back to back, that'd be incredible.
Show off.
Definitely.
Damn, that would be great.
46.4 for the champion. 146 points.
Breaking news of Terence Crawford responding to Jermell Charlo claiming that Lubin will knock him out, and many other things. So if you want to hear what Charlo had to say, I'm going to leave the link for that video in the comment section below. Nevertheless, Crawford said, quote, "Aw, you want some attention," laughing emojis. How you a boxer, but trying to play matchmaker to keep a MF off your ass? Boy, you a real life movie character. Crawford also retweeted Shakur stating, "I'm not lip wrestling with none of these internet boxers. See you all when it's time to lock in." With that being said, it's definitely a bad look on Jermell Charlo end. To go from telling Crawford, "Leave me alone," to now stating, "Lubin will knock you out." Wait a minute. Last time I checked, Crawford called Charlo out. He called him a cheerleader. He said, "I'ma smash Errol Spence, then I'm coming after the cheerleader Charlo." So for Charlo to respond with a deflection instead of an exception for the challenge, it makes Charlo look terrified of boxing pound for pound #1 Terence Crawford. Crawford is out here trying to cook some Texas barbecue from Errol Spence to Charlo. However, Charlo is out here telling Crawford to fight Lubin, a fighter coming off a knockout loss. Like, come on. Can we at least try to make sense while making excuses? At this point, Jermell Charlo is not even trying to make sense. That's why, hate him or love him, you have to respect Crawford. He's out here putting fear in the boxing universe, and it looks like the bud, the smoke, is clouding Texas, where no one is willing to step up to the challenge. Crawford is cooking Texas barbecue in Texas, and no one made him check in or willing to check him out. No one wants the challenge. The Errol Spence negotiations is taking a decade even after Crawford accepted all of Errol Spence's terms, including less money and no guarantee money. That's right. Errol Spence gave Mikey Garcia guarantee money and a 50-50 split. He gave Sean Porter a 50-50 split and guarantee money. He also gave Ugas guarantee money. But when it came to Crawford, Terence Crawford did not get any guarantee money, and he still accepted all of Errol Spence's terms, and we still waiting. So what excuses you guys gonna make now after Crawford did exactly what the critics said, which is take less money, and he's still waiting? You have Charlo, who doesn't want the smoke with Bud. He made it very clear. He said, "Leave me alone." You also have Virgil Ortiz from Texas that doesn't want the smoke with Crawford, as he is Crawford mandatory, which makes Bud the A-class boogeyman as boxing pound for pound #1. You see, if Crawford had the right complexion for the connection, then he would be praised as one of the GOATs. Just look at Canelo, for example. Canelo is out here ducking every single soul. He's ducking the best Black American undefeated fighters from Charlo to Andre, and he also ducking the best Mexican undefeated fighters from Benavidez to Gilberto Ramirez. Canelo literally came out and said, "I'm not fighting my countrymen. I'm not fighting any more Mexican fighters," even though he fought Chavez Jr. Canelo also created the NBF, the No Black Fighters League, in the sport of boxing. Do you guys know Canelo was offered to fight Charlo and either Benavidez or Errol Spence for $100 million guaranteed, plus pay-per-view, where he can make up to 200 million plus in only 2 fights. And Canelo still turned down this amazing offer for his biggest paydays and legacy days with Charlo, Errol Spence, and Benavidez, only to lose in a cherry pick gone wrong to Bivol. Even then, Canelo is still praised by his own fans and old media for his duckish behavior. On the other hand, Terence Crawford is doing exactly the opposite of what Canelo Alvarez is doing. Canelo ducked Charlo for all of the money in the world, $45 million guaranteed plus pay-per-view, even while Jermell Charlo had to move up in weight. On the other hand, Crawford is willing to move up in weight to his 4th weight division to fight the twin Charlo, the undisputed Charlo, who is more accomplished for little money compared to what Canelo was making. Canelo ducked Errol Spence for $55 million guaranteed plus pay-per-view, who was moving up 3 weight divisions to make it happen, while Crawford, on the other hand, moved up to his 3rd weight division to fight Errol Spence for little to no money compared to what Canelo Alvarez was making. Canelo ducked Benavidez for $55 million guaranteed plus pay-per-view, while Crawford, on the other hand, he fought his brother Jose Benavidez when he was undefeated and knocked him out. You see, Crawford is the definition of a true champion, a real champion, the champ of the people. Hate him or love him, you have to respect him. Everything that Canelo is doing wrong, Crawford is doing right. Man, they can't pay Canelo $100 million to get in there with Benavidez and Charlo. While on the other hand, Crawford already got in there with everybody, from Benavidez to Sean Porter to Kell Brook to Gamboa to Flex Diaz to Postal, etc., 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 and he's willing to get in there with both Charlo and Errol Spence for little money. Put some respect on Bud's name. With the facts being laid out, I had a lot of people in the comment section on my last video leaving silly comments such as Crawford haven't knocked out anybody. And when I said Sean Porter, that's when they say, oh, he didn't knock him out. And I'm like, really? So what did he do? That's when they respond with, well, Kenny Porter saved Sean Porter. He didn't knock him out. Well, that logic is so twisted because that's equivalence of claiming Gervonta Tank Davis didn't knock Rolly out because the referee saved Rolly. So guess what? The referee knocked out Rolly. Quit being silly. Yeah, Kenny Porter saved Sean Porter because Crawford was about to kill him. Just like the referee saved Rolly because Gervonta was about to kill him. See, instead of the people that picked Porter to beat Crawford, give Crawford the credit he earned. They want to hate and take credit away from Crawford. What you guys don't realize is that hate is a syndrome that blocks your vision from seeing the truth and blocks your brain from thinking logically. I also had people say Sean Porter was washed up when Crawford fought him. Keep in mind, these are the same people that accused Crawford of ducking Sean Porter. But then when Crawford knocked out Sean Porter, all of a sudden Porter was washed up. So if he was washed up, why did you guys flood my comment section that Crawford was ducking Sean Porter and y'all wanted to see the fight? Why did you guys want to see the fight if y'all believed Sean Porter was washed up? We all know what time it is. The truth is, the version of Sean Porter that fought Crawford was the best version of Sean Porter. You know why we know that's the case? Because no one could point out the exact time Sean Porter got washed up or who washed him. Because right before Crawford fought him, everyone was claiming Crawford was ducking him and he has the style to beat him. That's why Crawford won't fight him. Sean Porter has the ugly style with technique. He's younger than Crawford and he's stronger than Crawford. Plus, he has more experience. That's what every single one of you haters said about the Shawn Porter versus Crawford fight. We know Shawn Porter even got better after the Errol Spence fight. He even said it himself. So we know for a fact Errol Spence wasn't the one that washed Shawn Porter. Matter of fact, a lot of people believed Shawn Porter beat Errol Spence. I'm not one of them guys, but clearly Errol Spence didn't wash Shawn Porter. In fact, Shawn Porter got better after the Errol Spence fight. When he fought an undefeated contender right after the Errol Spence fight, Shawn Porter looked better than ever. He looked as complete as ever. That's when Crawford fought him, right after he looked at his best. And you all requested Crawford to fight him because y'all accused Crawford of ducking him. But then when Crawford knocks him out, y'all want to make silly, non-existent excuses after doubting Crawford. Then after he proved you guys wrong, instead of giving credit to the man Crawford, y'all want to take credit away from the man Crawford. You literally can't make this up. So, if Crawford knocks out Errol Spence, what are you guys going to say then? Oh, Errol Spence, he was no longer the same after the car crash. Is that the next excuse in play to discredit Terence Crawford? Because we can debunk that right now. Errol Spence already came back and beat Danny Garcia in a more dominant fashion than anyone else did, then came right back to dominate and knock out Ugas. See, this is what old media had successfully done, is manipulate the public to discredit the fighters on the coincidental list. Even though Crawford is doing everything right, he's going out of his way to fight the best, like Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo. He's hunting them down, the boogeymen themselves. Crawford is going after them. And old media and the decafs still criticizing Crawford for absolutely nothing. To make matters worse, they criticizing Crawford for doing the right thing while defending the fighters that's doing the wrong thing. This is ass backward. You really can't make this up. Like I said before, Crawford is everything that's right about the sport of boxing. But we have the decafs and old media that want to take everything that's right away from us. They want to criticize Crawford for doing the right thing. And they want to give us everything that's wrong about the sport of boxing. They want to praise the fighters that duck and maneuver, like Canelo Alvarez, etc., etc., etc. Even the fighters that avoid Crawford. Furthermore, this is nothing new for Crawford. They have been doing this to him his entire career. I remember the time where everyone was claiming Crawford was ducking Postal. Then Crawford schools Postal with ease, beats him up. All of a sudden, Postal was a nobody. Then they said Crawford was ducking Flex Diaz. Then when Crawford knocks out Flex Diaz, the gold medalist, all of a sudden, Flex Diaz, the gold medalist, is a nobody. I remember the time where people said Jeff Horn's style is going to give Crawford problems because just like Jeff Horn bullied Pacquiao, Jeff Horn is going to be able to do the same thing to Crawford. And we saw Crawford completely smash Jeff Horn. I remember the time where people said Amir Khan can outbox Crawford, and we saw how Crawford knocked him down in the first round and ended up stopping him. I remember the time where people said Crawford was ducking Benavidez, but then when Crawford beat Benavidez, all of a sudden, Benavidez is a nobody. I remember the time where people said Kell Brook will beat Crawford. He will give him a tough fight. Errol Spence trainer was one of them people. But then when Crawford knocks him out, all of a sudden, they want to discredit Crawford. I remember the time where everyone was saying Crawford was ducking Porter. But as soon as Crawford knocks out the younger, completed version of Porter, all of a sudden, Shawn Porter is washed. But you can't point out at any time during Shawn Porter's career where you can say he was washed up. That's what you call pure hate. You know, it's funny because I have a lot of people. I get thousands and thousands of comments a day. On a lot of them comments, people say to me, "You was an Errol Spence fan. Now you hating." And when I ask them, "Can you point out exactly what I said that's hating?" they never respond to the question. They point out absolutely nothing. And that's when I kill them with, Errol Spence is my favorite fighter. However, I'm not gonna discredit Crawford and lie on his name just because I like Errol Spence. What sense does that make? But see, this guy, just like every other person that made that exact same comment, told on himself. He's the fanboy. He's being biased because he's an Errol Spence fanboy. See, the difference between me and all of these biased fanboys, even though Errol Spence is my favorite fighter, at the end of the day, or at least the night, when it comes to my job, reporting, I'ma tell the whole absolute truth. The truth is my friend, and the lies are my enemies. See, the difference between me and the rest of the crowd is that I report the whole absolute truth. I put it together like puzzles so you can comprehend. I praise both Crawford and Errol Spence. But you guys on the other hand, y'all want to praise Errol Spence for one thing. However, discredit Crawford for the same exact thing. For example, Errol Spence's best 2 wins on his resume are Shawn Porter and Kell Brook. Y'all want to praise Errol Spence for beating Shawn Porter and Kell Brook. However, y'all want to discredit Crawford for doing the exact same thing. Now, I already proved Crawford knocked out the better version of Shawn Porter. But on my last video, I got a lot of comments of people stating when Crawford knocked out Kell Brook was no longer the same. He was washed up. However, when Errol Spence beat him, Kell Brook was at his best. So let's examine that real quick. When Crawford fought Kell Brook, they were the same age. Keep in mind, Kell Brook came off 3 wins. 3 impressive wins. In addition to that, Kell Brook leading up to the fight, he said he was in the best shape of his life right after he made weight, which was pretty evident during the fight because Kell Brook looked like the undefeated version when he was fighting Crawford. Now, after Crawford knocked him out, Kell Brook went on to dominate Amir Khan. Now, let's compare that to when Errol Spence fought Kell Brook. You guys say that was the best version of Kell Brook. How? When Kell Brook was coming off a knockout loss to Gennady Golovkin where he broke his eye socket, then he had to move down 2 weight divisions to fight Errol Spence and drain himself. You guys see how they praise Errol Spence for one thing, then turn around to discredit Crawford for that same exact thing. You can't praise Errol Spence for beating Kell Brook coming off a knockout loss and having to move back down 2 weight divisions after an eye surgery where Gennady Golovkin broke his eye socket, but with that same breath discredit Crawford for fighting Kell Brook coming off 3 wins. If y'all want to play the discrediting game, then I want to see you discredit Errol Spence for the same exact thing. Y'all discrediting Crawford. If you're going to discredit Crawford for one thing, make sure you discredit Errol Spence for that same exact thing. Keep the same energy, don't flip. By your own logic, if y'all discredit Crawford for the Kell Brook win, then y'all automatically discrediting Errol Spence for one of his biggest wins against Kell Brook. See, I give credit where credit is due. If I praise Crawford for one thing, I also praise Errol Spence for the same exact thing because they are both great fighters. I don't try to find the smallest little bitty thing to criticize the way you Crawford haters do, because you can always find something to criticize. However, it's more about the main things that matter. The best versus the best. As a champion, are you willing to fight the best and every other champion out there that's considered the best, which is exactly what Crawford brings to the table. He want to deliver to us the biggest and the best fights for the fans. That's why he want to fight Charlo and Errol Spence. If every champion behaved like Crawford, then boxing will be the biggest sport in the whole world, because we're going to receive the best versus the best every single time. That's why when I hear the decafs in the comments say, Crawford is clout chasing Charlo. Like what? These type of fans are what's wrong with the sport. Crawford is not clout chasing Charlo. Crawford has more clout than Charlo. That's a fact. Crawford is also higher than Charlo on the pound for pound list. Crawford is just daring to be great and wanting to deliver the fans the fights they want to see, unlike your favorite duck, from Canelo to Lomachenko and you name it. It ain't like Crawford called out Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, or something crazy like that. Crawford called out an active champion that's one division above him. This is not a fantasy fight for Crawford to clout chase. This is a reality fight. A very possible fight if Crawford does beat Errol Spence, which is a tough task. If he does, then the walls are going to be closing in on Jermell Charlo. He's going to be forced to fight Crawford, or his career is going to take a major hit. Now, if you disagree with anything I said, then point out exactly what I said you disagree with. Point out the facts that you disagree with your emotional opinion. I really want to see it. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace. And I'm on to the next one.
For all the people in the world that keep saying this Texas stuff, Texas stuff, Texas stuff. Spence is from New York City, and Charlo and his brother is from Lafayette, Louisiana. Stop saying y'all from Texas. Y'all talking about Texas boys. Y'all Illinois boys and you from New York, Spence. Tired of y'all. Texas, Texas, Texas. Try us back to y'all own state.
So New York, we could take Errol Spence.
Yeah.
New York got Errol Spence. They got
Definitely. That's where he from. Rep your city.